everyone, welcome to Lives Worth Telling. I'm your host Jodes, and my podcast is about digging deep into people's stories and providing them with a platform to share their life and their experiences with my listeners. One of the key reasons in creating this podcast is so their families and friends can have a record of their life, their stories, and their voice forever. One of my favourite things is hearing about people's stories, their triumphs, their hardships, but most of all, I love hearing about their resilience. I really hope you enjoy listening to my guests share their lives with you. I want you to have a few laughs and allow yourself to be immersed in their stories. Well, welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of Lives Worth Telling. Welcome to our new listeners in Phoenix, Arizona, and also we've picked up some new listeners in New Jersey, in East Orange and Lyndhurst. Today's episode was recorded on location in Lilydale in Melbourne. We meet the very kind-hearted and compassionate Vanessa. Vanessa, along with her sister Katie, played a huge role in supporting children in the foster care system. She has provided a wonderful, safe and loving environment for the children she has fostered over the years. She really is the pinnacle of resilience in everything she has gone through, from fostering children to conceiving her first child as a sole parent through IVF. So, if you want to feel inspired about life and restore your faith in humanity, settle in and listen to the beautiful story that is Vanessa. Enjoy. All right, my guest today, this person has been so inspiring to me and I've had it on my list for a little while. So I'm going to say welcome to you, Vanessa.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you.
So we're going to start off with background and childhood and move through the questions. So, and over to you. Tell us about yourself.
I am...
Oh, there's a person.
There's another person in the house.
That is so true.
I am a solo parent.
Yes.
To a beautiful, nearly 5-month-old.
Yes. See, right on cue. She knows when to come in. So good.
Chat. I have had a very colourful life. It's been up and down and full of lots and roundabouts.
So your folks, where did you grow up?
So I grew up across Australia because I'm a Navy brat. So,
are you?
Yes.
Wow.
So we moved I was born in Box Hill, but then we moved to Frankston, then we moved to New South Wales, then we went to America, then we came back to New South Wales, we came back to Melbourne to Hastings, and then we moved when my older sister was in high school, starting high school, we moved to Coldstream, and that's where I've spent the rest of my life.
So your both parents were in the forces?
No, just my dad. So my dad was in the Navy for 20 years.
See, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Even more inspiring than I thought you were. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm one of 5. So I have an older sister and younger twin brothers and a younger sister as well.
No, I thought it was just you and your sister.
No.
There you go. One of 5.
One of 5.
So all of you were carted around all of those areas.
My
so were you all born in different places?
No, so only Catherine was born overseas, so the youngest.
Okay.
But I always say my mum's amazing. She had 5 under 5 living in America, having her last baby. So
whereabouts in the States were you?
So we're in Virginia Bay.
Yeah.
So my dad had an 18-month training course. I don't know what it was, but
goodness.
an 18-month training course, and I just very.
How old were you at the time?
3.
Yeah.
So
do you remember much?
No.
Yeah,
I look at the photos and I can remember little tiny bits, but not really.
Have you been back?
No, I haven't been back over.
Oh my gosh.
So we still have a set of family friends over there and they keep us updated. But no, I haven't been back, just photos and
So your siblings went to school there?
Yeah, so Rebecca went to kindergarten. I went to kindergarten over there as well because you go to kindergarten at 3.
Yes.
So I went on the typical yellow school bus. Well, there's photos of me on the yellow school bus going to school. And, so we were over there. That's where Rebecca started school, and then we came back and did a bit of New South Wales and Victoria. So in total I went to 4 different primary schools.
Wow.
It's,
So when you moved back here, how old were you when you moved back here?
So I was...
Coldstream, where you settled?
Oh, when we settled, I was in grade 5.
Yeah, right.
So that was for my last 2 years.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So, we went to America's where I started. Then I came back to primary school in New South Wales. Then I did a couple of years there. Then we did a couple of years down at Hastings and then up to Coldstream as well.
You have been on the move. That's
yeah.
How did it work with grandparents? Like, did you get to see your grandparents from both sides at all? Because if you're moving around, where were your grandparents based?
So both my grandparents on my dad's side, they died the year I was born. So I've had no grandparents on that side. And my mum's parents, they would come and see us when we were in Australia. No one came in America, but when we were in Australia, they would always make the effort. And that was the only place we'd ever holidays back to Melbourne to see them. So you probably got to see them twice a year. Like, you remember them coming up to New South Wales, and then we'd always drive down with everyone. Yeah, so I didn't have a huge recollection of my nana, but of my pop I did, because then we were back in Melbourne. So once we came back to Hastings, we had a lot to do with him.
So Christmas for you guys could be anywhere then.
Yeah, but always back in Melbourne. They always came back for Christmas. So, and that's the one time of the year we would see my dad's family as well. So,
oh my gosh,
didn't know that. To see them. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So you were born in
Box Hill,
yes,
in Melbourne, in Box Hill, so it was not so bad.
I was just about, my next one is describe what school was like, and did you like school? So when you went to four different primary schools?
Yeah.
And then, so what school memories like for you then?
My school memories there's not a lot. There's lots of I guess being alone, because I had really good friends in New South Wales, and I think that was probably the most stable friendship group. Okay. And then I came back down, when we came back down to live in Hastings, it was different, and I was older. Yeah. And then when we got to Coldstream, I'm like, I was in grade 5, and I'm like, so I have lots of memories of starting friendships and meeting new people, of
by the time
trying
it's all connected,
again.
You're like, hey, guess we're moving again.
Yes, exactly. Oh. So then, going to the same high school the whole way through. So when people talk about, I think we had a really good childhood, but people talk about the people they've known since kindergarten. Yes, we went all through school together. I'm like, nope. I'm like, what does that feel like?
Yeah. Oh. So did your mum work during that time?
No.
It would just be impossible.
It was impossible. So, no, she was a stay-at-home mum the whole time. Yeah. Dad was in the Navy, because he'd go out to, go on a ship for 3 months and not come back, and then come back for 3 months. And, so she did a lot of solo parenting. Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
With everyone. The Navy were really good at family connections. Yeah. So there was, even though Dad might have been away, they were really good at supporting the family that was left at home. So I have lots of memories, especially of Hastings, being on the base at Cerberus and having lots of gatherings with the other Navy families.
Everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah, exactly, literally. So, there was lots of support that way, but I don't remember people. I just remember, events and places and Mum always talks of being, well supported and well cared for.
That's so good.
It's just like, okay, we're moving again.
Yeah, it must have been because you didn't know anything else. You were just moving again.
And because we had the 5 of us, it's like we brought our own friends anyway.
True. Partridge family style, right?
Exactly.
Did you? So high school then felt more settled for you?
It felt more settled. I didn't have a good high school experience. So,
do you know what? I think I've got about 22 interviews under the belt, and no one is like high school. I think our education system has had a good strong look at itself. Love primary school. Primary school is just like a really good time, and then high school is just, I don't know. What's going wrong there? I don't know.
There was, huge, and that's where I think my anxiety, my people pleasing, all of that just got brought about that time of, when we went to high school, it was acceptable to bully. It was acceptable to use physical violence. It was acceptable to use words. And look, bless their cotton socks, my parents, were of the belief of just turn the other cheek. If you don't give them fuel, they won't. Yes. I've since learnt through lots and lots of psychology that sometimes you need to actually stand up and say that's not okay.
Yeah, call it out.
Call it out, and people need to be strong. I did have a good education, and I had teachers at my high school that in my I don't look fondly sometimes on the education department because at year 9 I was diagnosed with dyslexia.
Okay.
So I'm like, really? Like I went through
handy time then to get diagnosed. Yeah.
I went through my, all my primary school and I read back at the reports now and I think how many people missed it. But was it because we were transient, because we were there only 2 years at a time?
True.
Was it because I was the quiet child that didn't say a lot? Yeah. There's so many factors that go into it. It's not an easy one to diagnose.
No, it's not.
So
it's not.
I'm forever grateful for that, psychology teacher that's pulled my mum aside and said, I don't think this is her fault. I don't think this is the reason she's struggling is her fault. I don't think it's lack of trying. And my mum says, she goes, I've always thought that. I tried to keep her back in grade 3 and everyone just said she was fine. Just keep her going, keep her going. So it's,
Isn't it interesting? It just takes that one teacher that just goes, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It has its positives, but then I guess to have not let it go on any longer undiagnosed.
Yeah.
And then did you complete secondary school then? Did it feel different for you after being diagnosed?
Yes.
With support?
So it was different because the supports actually came then. So all my year 12 exams were scribed. So I sat in a room with another person and I was in my element. They would read me the question and I would tell them what to write. So then I didn't have to worry about spelling, about sentence structure, about putting, apostrophes and full stops in.
Yeah.
So it actually was the perfect end to my year 12 schooling. Yeah. So I was never going to get a huge TER at that point, but I got, pretty much what I needed and I didn't have the stress of having to try and write those exams.
That's amazing.
So it was
and even
really
having something
good.
like, I know that's in existence now, but even having something like that back, so what year would that have been?
So I finished in 98.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even having something like that back then is pretty forward.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's available now, but that is really good. Was that instigated by like VTAC or Vika or
I don't know. I feel it's a school.
Yeah.
We had a really good principal and he was very much about meeting needs because
that's really good.
It was not a high needs school, but it was just like there was a lot of different needs going on.
Yeah.
And even though like some of my experiences were terrible, they actually were probably the most personable that actually got to, no, I didn't know these things existed. I didn't know that these supports could be put in place.
Available, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Until I went to sit them and they're like, well, you don't have to sit them the way that everyone else sits them.
Gosh.
So it was just amazing. It was so good.
A good feeling too.
It was really nice.
I'm just looking at my next one here. What were some memorable trips like outing? So you did a lot of travel. Was it by car some of the time or plane some of the time?
No, all by car.
Yeah.
So I don't think I flew until I was other than America, as a family we couldn't afford to fly. So there were so many of us. So we would drive. But, I've lost my dad and the memories we have of in the car singing these stupid songs and playing games, what sort
of car was it we had?
It was a Tarago.
I was going to guess. It's like the stock standard. Yeah. Is it a Tarago?
Yeah, it was a Tarago.
What's today's version of a Tarago? I'm not sure.
It was a Kia now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so and I feel so lucky. Yeah. I mean, so many people don't have those memories of living other places, of having, connections in so many states. And yes, our travel was always back to Melbourne, but the trip down was long, but it was fun.
And that time that you spent together in the car too. Good, bad and indifferent, I'm sure.
And I look at other families and I think we're really blessed. We still get together and we still have, fortnightly, monthly lunches and I live with my sister. We're very close.
That's awesome.
And I think that's the sort of things that kept us
It's very,
together.
I guess, even though you've moved around, but like you said, you've moved around as a little tight-knit group, looking out for each other. Were there any significant influences in your childhood that you can think of?
Not really. It was all very family centred.
Yeah. Your mum sounds like quite a key person.
Yes.
If your dad's away for a few months at a time.
She was amazing. She kept things running when...
How on earth did she do that?
Look, 5 kids. I don't even know how you do that.
No, I think these days those larger families, it's few and far between. Like it does happen, but I don't know. I don't think people would even entertain the idea now. It's a sort of 5 kids. No, try just 1 or 2.
Exactly.
That's a push. So moving into your family life as an adult. Now, my question here, do you have children? I want you to take us through your journey with your own child, but also your other children that you've had, whether you want to go those children first or how you came to decide foster children. How old were you? And, describe that part first.
So my cousin has been in and out of foster care for her entire life.
Okay.
So she is a remarkable woman, and we lived in Coldstream and they lived in Brunswick, and it was incredibly tricky for my dad and mum to get to Brunswick to support my dad's sister. And so there was a single foster family that my cousin would go back and forth from for her primary school life, as well as my other uncle. But she was so blessed to have them. Yeah. And we could absolutely see how much they enriched her life, like how they just gave her a safe home, just a safe home where no one else, everything was fine, and she didn't have to, worry about what was happening with her mum. So that was when it really we can do this. So Catherine, my sister, started first. So she did a lot of respite placements. She was 19 or 20, she was super young, and she was just would just have, kids for the weekend. Would do. So she got accredited, and then 5 years later when we bought our first house together, I talk about this picture of what my life would look like, finish uni, I would get a job, and then I would find a man and we would have a baby, and none of that was happening for me.
Doesn't it go like that for everyone?
None of that was happening for me.
The touch was going to be a bit different.
Exactly. Yeah. And we had this house, and Catherine had done the training, and we really loved having this particular little family once a month. Yeah. We're like, we can do this. We have love to give. We're both older. Yeah. So I was 25 when I did my training. And
so what does the training involve?
So it's 2 full days of book training with Anglicare, and then you do 6 weeks with a caseworker. So once a week they come and they really unpick your life. Yeah, so they're looking for biases, they're looking for triggers, they're looking for things that, you need to work through before you have children with trauma. Yeah. So it was an intense process, but it was really lovely.
Job application.
You get to retell your life story, and you get to look at what things influenced how you think and what you think will happen in your life. And we had this space and this hole, and I always wanted to be a parent, And then we had a couple of more respites, and then we ended up with a particular 2 little people that would just inevitably steal my heart. So they were 2 and 4 when they came to us. Yes. And they stayed for 4 years. Wow. And they were incredibly traumatised and had a lot in their little lives. And I guess that they were also lucky they were placed with us, because we didn't have children. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that if they had been placed with other children, they wouldn't have stayed in that home. They were, the little boy was a little bit violent and very not his fault. He was just so traumatised. But wow, they just opened my life. Yeah. They were the biggest challenge, but the greatest success story. Yeah. The way they blossomed and how we were able to help and support them and love and nurture them. They felt like I never wanted them to leave. Yeah. And the system is broken, and we don't get to hear from them anymore.
I was going to say, how does it work with contact?
So we don't have any contact, even though it was in their court order that they maintained contact with us because they were with us for 4 years. The thing with the foster care system is that sometimes people feel, I don't even think intimidated is the right word. They want to cut that bit of their life out. Yeah. They don't want to pretend it didn't exist.
That's from the parent's perspective, but from the child's perspective, they would really benefit from contact because it's not taking anything away from the parents. It's just, it's a part of their life that's a part of their life. It may not be part of the parent's life, really.
But it's a part of their life.
Shame.
So I do often they'll pop into my head.
How old would they be now?
So they would be now, yes. So they were 2 and 4, they were 8 and 6 when they left. So the oldest,
teens?
Teenagers now. So we know, obviously children that they went to school with here, and I look at them and I'm like, oh, they're in high school now, and I'm like, that's how I keep track of where the other two would be up to.
True.
And I really, really hope one day that they will just call and be on our doorstep. I would just always, this house is always open to them. They will always be welcome. And I would love to know.
I guess it's part of the gig is the foster that at some point potentially they will come off your hands, but in different circumstances.
Yeah. So it was a really, not unusual, but it was a weird process with them. Okay. So they went in and out. We had just been told that they were staying with us until they were 18. They'd gotten
wow.
And then 6 weeks later, hang on a minute, we found an uncle. So it was a really traumatic for them and for us of how it ended. So it wasn't like an easy, you go back and forth to the birth family. And we wish them the best, and we want them, family is important and family is what you want. But it was really traumatic that we thought they were staying till they were 18 is what the courts say, but they were welcome, obviously, the entire lives. But then to say, hang on a minute, nope, we're moving them to the other side of the city.
So when you say they found them an uncle,
they found their uncle, yeah. So they constantly in foster care. While they're in foster care, every time they go back for an order, so a court order, they always have to do family finding. Okay. So they always have to go back and see if there's any people that have come out of the woodwork or are now capable of caring for the children. It's such,
and it's a funny thing is that where are those people when they went into foster care? It's very hard.
It's really hard. And, for a lot of people, they don't want to take on a baby, but then maybe, say once the foster carers have done some hard work, then they're happy to take on a child that's going to primary school.
Yeah, yeah.
And no one actually thinks about the implications of what that does to the child and what, even what this has done to these two little people. We were their whole life, and they luckily had an amazing aunt that would still kept in contact with them.
Okay.
But so they knew family, they had family connection, and then they're just gone. It was just, and we wrote them a letter to take with them because we never wanted them to think that it was our choice that there was no contact.
Yeah.
Because that's the bit that, they live in this new life and they probably thought, they don't care about us anymore. They're not getting in contact. Whereas that's not the case. It's legally,
So how did you and your sister then after they were gone? It'd be just this
it was
gaping
awful.
hole.
It was this massive gaping hole.
Because you would have, I imagine, being very busy with these little people that have not only come into your life but come into your life with some trauma or a lot of trauma. And then, how did you kind of overcome that?
I didn't really cope.
Yeah.
I was completely heartbroken.
Yeah.
We stopped foster care.
Okay.
I went through a really dark time. It was the time when I actually did find a psychologist to talk to because I just couldn't move forward. No. I just didn't have an identity left anymore.
Yeah.
I felt like everything that we did for them and with them, and then to have this empty house.
You built up a life with them.
Yeah, and this empty house, and it was really strange. And I actually, at that point, I actually thought we'd never go back to fostering, that we would just be like, nah, that's too traumatic. That was too hard on us. And, you know, so many people are like, oh, I don't know how you would give them up. And you mean you don't get a choice.
Yeah.
But you did know that it was always a possibility. I think with these two, it was the fact that it was a possibility, then it wasn't a possibility, then it was a possibility again. So I guess the mixed signals, the poor communication.
You're led to believe.
Yeah.
Something
You'd kind of like said, oh, no, they're in a stable home. And then, oh, hang a minute now, they're gone. And then you're left with this massive silence.
So did they get to say goodbye to you?
We did, yeah. So we did have a 6-week period where we knew it was happening. And so there was goodbyes, and leaving them with their uncle was, I would never forget the images. Like, I could see it as vivid as day of the two of them screaming their little hearts out, sobbing, and us just driving away sobbing, not knowing what to do. And I have an amazing village of family and friends, and they were all there to pick up the pieces, to listen, to cry to. Still now they talk about these two little people because they're so aware of them, and they're like, a photo will come up, or, you know, something that we've done together. And, you know, like, as much as we were pain, like, it was so much heartbreak for us, our extended family also, like, they'd grown to love these little people.
That's true, because you think about celebrations, Christmases, birthdays, they were part of everything.
And my middle niece of my brother's children, his middle child, had such a close connection to the girl.
Okay.
And it's like she lost her friend, never to be seen again.
The impact of that.
It just keeps, going everywhere.
Put the noise on.
It's the dog now, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if they were here, you know, so maybe 4 to 8, like they will definitely maintain some memory of that. What a shame that you can't have contact with them.
It would be lovely.
That's really hard. So then,
I do live in hope that will happen.
Well, hello to you. We have a third person
We
at the
do.
microphone. Ooh, so good. Gosh, if I only did video. Goodness. Yes, hello to you.
I'm cute.
We'll take a selfie. We will. So then you guys decided that was it for foster care for a little while.
Yeah.
And then did either of you go back?
So we did.
Yeah.
So it sounds really bad, but during COVID, when we felt like, well, the world was stopped.
Yes.
And we could just like, okay, I think we're ready.
Yeah.
We're ready. And we, you know, put in a stipulation. We're like, you know, let's just start with some really short-term care.
Okay.
And we had the most perfect little baby for 3 months.
Wow.
And he just gave us a little bit of hope back.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and he went.
So how old was he when you got him?
So he was 6 months old.
Oh, my goodness.
He was the cutest, easiest baby on the planet. He was so good. And whether it's because we didn't have to do anything or go anywhere, it's one of the upsides of COVID.
True. Half the problem is trying to get out of the house and get to places and work between feeds and sleeps and all of the above.
Yeah.
So
we didn't have to do that. Stay put.
And there's the two of you too.
Exactly.
So
I do, remember doing remote learning for kindergarten children and having the baby in the background.
It was a good time for everyone.
It was a good time, and that coincided with my sister having her daughter.
Okay.
So she's a solo parent as well, and so she had my little niece 4 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Of course. So that was a time when you both fostered this little fella.
Yeah.
Oh, how exciting.
So then she went and had a little gorgeous human, and we had a pause again, just to let her be a parent. And we then I think she was 6 months old.
Okay.
And we started again with just short placements, nothing too crazy. And then the caseworker came to us one day and she's like, so I've got this nearly 1-year-old, and the carer that she was with was going in for a kidney transplant, and they couldn't find somewhere for her, and she was quite a settled baby and had been in care since she was born.
Wow.
And so she came to live with us, and so she was 6 months younger than my niece.
Okay.
And it was tough.
Yeah.
like having
Two little
twins.
ones, yeah.
It was tough. And I was still working full time and my sister had gone back to work but worked from home.
Okay.
So we did the juggle in those early days. Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Wow, it was tough. And she wasn't traumatised, but she was, like any child that has to be in the system has a certain level of trauma, but she was lucky that she hadn't experienced any trauma.
Okay.
But the transition between her first carer and us was still a trauma in her life, a blip in her little life, and we just adored her. And my niece just thought of her as her little bestie. She knew life. She did not know life without this little person.
Yes.
But this little person's mum began to sort herself out and got the counselling and did the steps and, stopped her substance abuse and kept really good contact with her and upped her contact and met every one of her goals. And so she was reunited with her mum, which was...
It's a bittersweet feeling.
It's a bittersweet feeling. It was... like amazing that the system worked and that this little person was safe and this family, little did we know, lived really close.
Wow.
And they, it was still really sad to see her go. And we tried to keep contact, but when you're working through your caseworker and the department and their caseworker, just to set up one picnic date was really hard. And then we both tried. I've since found out we've both tried since. And then randomly one day after I had my little one, we bumped into each other at the supermarket. And her mum was just divine. She was so appreciative and told like how much this little person had missed us and how she really wanted to see us and how she had told the department to give her phone number to me, where I was on the other side of the system saying, just give her my phone number and we'll catch up at a park. Like there was no personal protective problems. Like we didn't have any fears. So now I bumped into her and guess what? We could exchange numbers with no bureaucracy. Without the other people telling me I can't. And now we see her at least once a month.
Oh, that is amazing.
And I hadn't realised. I guess the toll, again, like that, that next level, we had done this because we like doing things for little people and giving them safe homes. We hadn't actually fully appreciated the impact it would have on my niece. And she kind of lost a little bit of her sparkle when this person left, and we all thought it's a lot of change, it's different. But since being reunited with her, it's back.
Oh, really?
It's really back. And
so essentially it's almost like losing a sibling, isn't it? Because it doesn't need to be biological. Yeah, isn't it interesting? And that as the adults, you know what your role is in that foster role. So, but for the child, it's like, hey, where's my mate?
Exactly.
You're gone.
And we took on, I guess, knowing after the first two that this was a real possibility, that this, that they would definitely these children would keep moving on. We'd had a few in between them. And so I guess we'd protected ourselves, but we didn't know how to protect her.
Yeah, true.
And she's little and doesn't have a grasp on her emotions. And we just then whisked this person away. And there was an amazing transition and my niece knew it was happening. Like we talked about it. But when it happened and then to not have contact, she lost her playmate.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
When she drew a picture last year at kindergarten and it came home and it was in her art show and it said, what makes me happy, and it was playing with this person, this little person, and it actually like a stab to the heart. And so we're like, Jesus. Holy moly, like, wow, Ouch. What do we do? What did we do?
Yeah.
We were trying to do the right thing by these other little people, we'd forgotten the impact it would have on our family.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we had her for 2.5 years.
Wow, was it?
Yeah.
Right. So from baby. Yeah.
So,
jeez.
But now it's like a true success story. Like it just, when I bumped into them and she was doing so well and looked amazing and the family unit was doing so well. And
That's the ultimate, isn't it?
Is the ultimate success story of the foster care system.
Yeah.
And
what
wish
percentage do you reckon?
Yeah, I wish for everyone that happened. I don't know.
Very small percentage, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not a huge percentage.
Around.
Yeah.
And also the quality of the foster care that they're going into, that's probably, that leaves a bit to be desired too.
That's it. I've heard lots of horror stories.
Yeah, I bet you have.
And then I think, we would never do that.
Oh, I know.
And
that's when you question, well, why are you a foster person if that's what you're doing?
That's right.
Or behaving. And then that leads me to this person. And how did she eventuate your thought processes? And because I guess your sister has gone down that road.
Yeah.
So you've seen, I guess, the success of that.
And I've never really, I'd always said, it's a lot to do it on your own and is it fair on the child to not have that other half?
Mm-hmm.
And then my niece was born and it was just like this light bulb of, hey, you know what? Families are families.
For sure.
And
absolutely.
As I said, my village is amazing.
Yeah.
I have such amazing family and friends. I thought, can do this.
Yeah.
So it pretty much started from when my niece was 6 months old. I started.
Okay.
And I initially began with my own eggs. So I did 4 rounds of IVF with my own eggs and donor sperm.
Yeah.
Clearly not cheap.
Yes.
And very stressful.
Oh, of course.
It was just like an emotional roller coaster and on hormones. And look, I got a few embryos, but none of them stuck. And again, very blessed that I had 2 other friends going through the same thing at the same time.
Yes. I do know
that. I was really, really blessed because it's such no one else bar my family, my immediate family, and one friend knew any of it because I couldn't make it my life.
Yeah.
I couldn't make everything about it. People would have thought, looking back over that 3 years, oh, my God, she is a mess. Some weeks she's in tears. Some weeks she's okay. They must have just thought I was a really emotional person, which I am ananyway, but it was
another layer.
It was that silent, it's that silent journey. Anyone, even couples undergoing IVF, it's like you don't talk about it because you don't want to make it your center of your whole world and you're scared that if you talk about it and don't succeed, what does that mean? What does that look like? And will people pity you or will people try and offer you useless suggestions? And
that will be the point of their conversation when they catch up, so how's that?
And you just don't want to. You don't want that. And how many times I'll just go out and have a one-night stand. If only it was that easy.
As advice to you.
Yes.
People give not what you were thinking.
No, not what I was thinking.
People saying that to you.
Yeah. And
that's very helpful advice, Vanessa.
Very helpful.
What's your deal with that?
I know. And they're like, I just don't know why you're single. I'm like, I know why I'm single. I have a lot of anxieties and social situations are really, really super hard for me.
Going out for a one-night stand, 100 minutes on the cards,
Exactly. It was so damn easy for me.
Absolutely. Oh, my gosh.
Yes, they were very
helpful. That's great advice.
Yeah. There's had some wonderful rippers in my life. Yep. Yeah. It's been
holy dooly.
Very interesting. So
the process of when you started to when you had you were successfully pregnant with her.
So then after my doctor said to me, you've pretty much, your eggs are too old now.
Okay.
That's why they're not sticking.
Rude.
I know. You're spending all this money and I think that it's not
it's not viable.
It's not viable. It's not, you're actually just not wasting your money, but it's giving you false hope.
Yeah, fair enough.
I had known that my sister-in-law had donated eggs years and years prior.
Okay.
I didn't know there was eggs left.
Wow.
So then when I'd come to the end of my journey and I'd said to my family, it's just not going to happen for me. I'm really, really sad about it. I don't want it to be the end, but it has to be the end.
Yeah, have to call it a day.
And this is where we are. We'll deal with that. My sister-in-law came to me and she said, do you know that there's embryos left in WA?
Oh, my
and I'm
gosh.
like, no, I did not know.
My gosh.
She said, would you be open to having those embryos?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then we started another 18-month process of getting these embryos into Victoria.
Yes.
So we don't now, but when I started, we had a process in place called VADA.
Okay.
And they deal with all biological material going in and out of Victoria.
Okay.
Wow, was that a process?
Oh, my gosh.
Holy moly.
You weren't thinking at this point, the one night stand probably would have been a good option.
And in hindsight, I should have just gone to WA and had them put in, and then we wouldn't have had this drama. So,
isn't it interesting? It just the process.
The process, it was the legal paperwork that went behind it that caused chaos.
Just to get them from
WA. And do you know what the crazy thing is? They were created in Melbourne at the same clinic I was using, and they'd been shipped to WA because that's where the family lived.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And
that's a roadblock. That's
everyone.
A stupid roadblock.
We still had, connections with everyone. So the family that had used the embryos prior and had 2 little girls, they were all on board. They helped every step of the way. We all had counselling again. We, went through every hoop that everyone could ever want, and they were all important.
Yeah.
And then we eventually got the 3 embryos here, and the first one didn't take.
Okay.
And I know it's because they mucked up my cycle, but they'll never admit that.
Okay.
And then the second one, it just felt like it was going to work. Yeah. I actually just felt like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And all along, I somehow knew it was a girl. I didn't know till 12 weeks, but when the embryo was put in, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Which actually is insane, coincided with the day that our last foster child left. So the day she left was the day I had my the embryo put in.
Oh, my goodness.
And at the beginning I was like, this is never going to work. This is too much sadness.
And pregnancy was all fine?
Yeah, I had a really lovely pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I guess that because I was older, everyone just thought every time I went to the OB, she's like, is everything fine? I'm like, everything's great.
Excellent.
So I breezed through pregnancy. I felt a little bit like, oh, sorry, ladies.
Too easy.
Like I had a little bit of morning sickness and I barely showed. So even when I left work, the parents were like, are you sure you're going to have a baby?
Yeah.
And I had a baby a week after I left work.
Yes. So she was early.
She was 3 weeks early, yeah. So I had preeclampsia, very rapid onset. So basically all within 24 hours it all happened and she was born, and it was not the way anyone had planned. And I hear so much of this, like no birth plan is the way that everyone thinks it's going to be. And they had warned me, like everyone had warned me, like be open to suggestions. And when push came to shove and the scans didn't go well and everything was not going well, my blood pressure was out of control, my OB, bless her little heart, stood at the end of the bed and said, this is no longer a choice. I'll see you in the OR in 3 hours. You're having this baby today.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Hang on a minute. We were, no baby's going to be born today. We're just going to monitor you. I'm putting my team together.
No plan there. No. Not one at all. The other thing I was thinking too, so you've created, I guess, a family unit with your sister apart from the rest of your family. Have you guys been on any holidays together as a family with you and your sister and foster children or your own children? Have you done outings together?
So we've always holidayed together. Yeah. So we always went away. So with every foster child, we like our Christmas holidays for 2 weeks. We go away to a caravan park. So yes, we've always holidayed as a family unit. So it's been a journey for my niece now, who is now at kindergarten, to explain her family.
Yeah.
Because technically her family is her mum and her.
Oh, you have 2 mums? No. They're not they're related, but they're not together.
Yeah.
That's a
so she's
one.
like, I have a mum and I have an auntie Ness.
Yeah.
And that's what I have. Like, what do you have that?
What? You've got a what? A mum and a dad?
Yes.
It's weird.
I know.
And that's the thing, like you say, the definition of family isn't, it's not one-dimensional.
No, it's not.
It can be all of the above, none of the above. But how great for her, I guess, even though there's no, technical mum and dad, the love that she's got around her with yourself and everyone outside of that as well, like your extended family, like that's 1,000 times better, that could be, what would be the stock standard mum and dad that could be quite isolated or whatever, but her connection with everyone, how amazing for her.
And you think solo parent and you look at there's bits of it that are tough. And even our first little foster set of children that we had, the oldest would always call us by our name. So we were always Ness and Katie.
Okay.
And the second one did as well, but as he got into school, it was like he was kind of cheeky, but he was like working out what a family meant.
Yeah.
So for the older one, it was really triggering around Mother's Day and Father's Day because she wasn't with her family. But for him, he would go around just saying, I have 2 mums. I'm like, you can't keep saying that.
So you rock up to the school and we're not together though.
That's right. And I think that it was little things like that even.
Effectively did. But not in what an adult would think of the definition of 2 mums.
And so then I learnt that when I went places, like even with my niece now, and I'm like, I'm Auntie Ness. Like I introduce myself as to my role in her life. I just don't take anything at assumptions anymore.
Before anyone says, I'm Auntie.
I'm like, oh, you mean my sister, Catherine?
I tell you could have so much fun with that though. Oh, you could have so much fun with that. You could really muck with people's minds.
You definitely could.
You try and get your intro in first.
Yeah.
And I'm just so pleased everything worked out so beautifully for you and your little. So she's 5 months now.
5 months now, yeah.
Yeah, and never look back. Like
I have never looked back.
She's a perfect button, honestly.
Yeah.
She's a huggy baby, as I keep saying. You've had, I guess, some challenging times. What do you think the hardest time was? And I reckon I know how you got through it, but what's been your hardest time out of everything? There's been some challenges, but you seem to ride through it from my perspective.
I mean, definitely when the first set of foster children left, that was definitely my lowest point. Yeah. And it was still now could bring me to tears because that feeling of hopelessness and not – my psychologist would say I was not suicidal, but I had passive suicidal thoughts. Yeah. So I'm like, no one would notice if I left now. Like I felt like I had no purpose in life. Yeah.
You lost your way.
Yeah, I lost my way and it was really dark and really low and I was just I cannot thank my village, like my people around me and it extended even as far as work, like my team leader my colleagues at work, my team leader at work, like the investment that people put in my life has always amazed me. Yeah. And so I got through them and at points where I didn't think I'd even keep going and to come through it and then to foster again and then to have enough courage to have her.
Absolutely.
Like talk to me, 15, 20 years ago, I would never have said I could do all that.
Yeah.
You know, like tough times do breed tough people because you can't, you have to. Like that is something I guess that was instilled in us like from very little that you just have to work hard. Yeah. And I feel like I look at it and think, everything is hard work. I wish it wasn't so hard. I know. Like I do. And I know, as an adult and with hindsight and perspective, you go, well, what people put out into the world is not necessarily what's going on in their lives.
Yes. You're there.
But when you're struggling with something, you think everyone else is just breezing through life beautifully.
Everyone else's life is perfect.
Yes.
Right? Horrid.
Yes.
Wait, what? Everyone else's is horrid too.
I know. And when like friends and that would start talking about their partners and their husbands not being what I thought a marriage was, or, like my parents gave me a beautiful, image of what marriage was and is. And I lived in a really naive world and it was like when other people would like open up to you, and not to be condescending, but they would just tell you about their lives as you got to know them, and you think, shit, it's not all that's cracked up to me.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, like you've embarked on choice of being a sole parent. I think there are sole parents in marriages. So you can have two people that are married and have children, but I think sometimes the person is a sole parent even though they're married.
Yeah.
So, people, that face that they put on, and like nothing is perfect. Nothing.
No.
And if it is, they're lying.
That's what I've learned too. Then there's something else. They're telling something else.
Just selling a done car.
I do, right. And I still hope that someday I find my person and that I'm not alone.
That's right. The day is still young.
Yeah, exactly. I've still got years.
That's right.
But I've got what I ultimately always wanted to be, which was a parent.
Yeah.
So if nothing, the foster children showed me that I just want to love someone and I want to make sure that they're safe and they're cared for, and she's every bit what I've ever wanted in the world.
Absolutely.
And some days are hard and some days, a lot, but
that's it.
It's so worth it.
Yeah.
I do not regret it for one. I don't regret the 3 years of crying and hormones and tears because it is so worth it.
To get to the point to actually have her in your hands. My next one is work and profession. So what was your first job?
So I started at Kmart as a teenager.
Yeah, nice.
So at Kmart with social anxiety that didn't like talking to people. It was like the worst job in the world to take. So I was on the floor in the apparel department. So I loved cleaning. I loved to clean.
Yeah.
So I was really good at cleaning, but someone asked me something, I'd nearly melt.
Which Kmart? Was it like
just Chenside Park, really local.
Okay.
But it was so good for me because I had to stand on my own 2 feet. Yeah. I had to talk to the boss. I had to manage my schedule. I had to ask for time off. Yeah. Like it was really – and it had to do with the public. Yeah. Like I had to be that professional person that dealt with the public, which I think eventually then helped me in my early childhood career because I was like, okay, I've dealt with difficult people before. I can do this.
Exactly right. You get the good, bad and the ugly.
Exactly.
So what did you want to be when you grew up? Like when you were a kid?
I always wanted to be a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
So I didn't get the scores that I needed to get into the only uni that I thought I could go to, which was Melbourne Uni.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So I went and did my diploma and it was amazing. The minute I stepped into working with children, I knew I was home. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted to do. But 11 years into doing that, I thought, I really still want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I still really, really want to be a teacher. So I moved home and I took up a uni degree for the next 4 years of my life, working full-time in a childcare centre and studying.
Yes.
Took my 2 lots of annual leave at once to do my 8-week placement in a sessional kinder.
Yes.
It was so much work. And I remember years 2 and 3 being the hardest because they were like nowhere near the end. And year 4, I'm like, yes.
I know. So good to finish.
So good to finish.
Where did you study?
So I studied through Charles Sturt. So I did it completely all by correspondence.
Yeah, same. That's how I did mine with Melbourne Uni. So did my, which was associate diploma then. I then got into Melbourne Uni straight after I'd finished that, and it was all by correspondence. So it was for like the people who had done the associate diploma for 2 years that you got some credits towards that to do the degree. But same, I didn't get straight into it from year 12, but I got there in the end. Like I did the 2 years of the associate and then did the 4 years of And then I was very glad to finish because I was working full-time in childcare as well at the same time. I was like, what am I doing? Going home doing homework and I've got exams and stuff for 4 years. But, yeah, I was up to pussy's bar, I reckon, by the end. I was done to finish the degree.
There was lots of books flying across tables at late nights.
Yes.
Why the hell am I doing this?
I know, but good to finish and you achieve your goal then.
Yeah, it was so good. And I got an exit degree at 3 years so that I could teach. So then I continued teaching in the kindergarten where I was at the childcare and continued my last 2 years so that I would have the 4-year degree. Okay. And doing that job, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was in a very volatile workplace and there was a lot of workplace bullying. It was really hard. And a lovely PSFO came to help me one day with a super tricky child. And she, after many meetings, she goes, I think that there's more for you. And she kind of just literally slid this up, like this was a little application for sessional kinder. Just like, I really think you'd do well here. You've done, what she say, you've learned all you can learn here. Yeah. And there's another whole world.
Yeah,
and
spot on.
Forever blessed to have her as a friend.
So good.
And she supported me. There was many interviews because moving from the childcare kindergartens into sessional kindergartens was not easy.
Don't have to explain that to me, Vanessa. They look down on you.
You do.
It's like, oh, really? You've come from childcare. Oh. Yeah. It's like you're not good enough for the outfit, but what you find out is you are well above the outfit once you're in it.
Yes.
You go, hold on. How very dare you? You know?
Yeah.
Yes. Isn't that interesting? And it's still there, I think, for some reasons and for some people, but not always. Yeah.
No.
I think it is. From me doing the first course, it was a lot more practical, and I guess you're engaging with. You've got a lot of placements. There's a lot of placements in that.
Yeah.
Whereas in the degree, there's not as many. But I like the mix. I feel like the mix is it gives you a lot more perspective than have just done the degree straight up.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted U12 straight into Melbourne Uni. But, well,
And I look at it and I think, well, that could have been me. I could have got, like, it was the 2 points, like 2 8 up or whatever, enter points. It was so bloody close.
Yeah.
And I think things do happen for a reason, and it absolutely made me a better teacher when I eventually became a teacher. I was so proud of myself.
Yes.
And I had perspective. I had worked out all those parenting issues that our new graduates in sessional kindergarten go, what the?
Yeah.
I'd worked through all of that.
Yeah.
I had confidence in talking to people. I had planning down pat. So then when I moved into the sessional world where you have so much more responsibility and you're so much more isolated, I had so much more in me.
A lot under the belt.
Yeah. So I think it would be very beneficial for our...
So your total years of teaching, how many years have you been teaching now?
I've been teaching for 22 years in total, Yeah. So,
So good. And what are you most proud of in your career so far?
I'm proud that I've got to a point in my career where not stuff the parents, but I can articulate what is in the best interest of children.
Yes.
And I feel like,
I have to agree with you there.
I feel like I always put the children first.
Yes.
To the detriment of myself or my staff or my parents, like they are my top priority.
Yeah.
And I feel really proud that they are my top priority, that everything else doesn't really matter, that I'll do the background noise is what I call it. I'll deal with that later.
Yes.
But if, a child needs help, I feel like because of my journey and because of my foster care, that I just have a way with little people that perhaps are not running the norm, the typical path.
Yes.
That just, call them quirky. Like there's just something about them that they need a little different alternative way of being taught. And that's what I'm proud of, that I can provide that sort of environment for them to come to.
True advocacy.
Yeah,
really. And you walk that walk, my dear. You really do. I don't think, some people say they do, and I think you truly do. That I think there is, and it's not something you can get at university or in a training institution. Some people, I don't know, some people have it and some people don't. I think it's because it has to be innate. It has to be that need, like you say, that need to, when I say foster children's everything, their independence, their mental health. I think it's you've smashed that in 1,000 ways. So who is your greatest mentor? Is there anyone along the way that you've admired and you've just run your own ship?
Look, I would say that there are multiple people within where I was working up until recently that have all mentored me in their own special way. Yeah. Like when I moved into sessional kinder, into this EYM, I was really blessed with strong leadership. Yeah. And particularly the management that was there at the time, I owe a lot of my career to because they helped me through getting into the industry properly, but having confidence in myself. Yeah. And nothing was too much problem. So up until this workplace, I hadn't actually told anyone that I had dyslexia. I would just go home and work my ass off. My sister would proofread everything. Like it was like a second job for her. Yeah. They were the first people that allowed me to be me. Yeah. And they were like, just send it to me. I'll proof it. Yes. Or we know that's not easy for you, so we'll do this. So and good. They were just so adaptive. Yeah. And they taught me not to be ashamed of my learning difficulties. That's good. And they taught me to put things in perspective. Yeah. So that leadership team were personable. Oh, they knew what was happening. They'd be like, I remember the first time one particular team leader, we got, I say 5 exceeding and 2 meeting for rating and assessment. And she rang down the phone. She's like, if I hear you're upset about that one more time, I'm going to come down there. She goes, in its exceptional rating, we're very pleased. Stop.
Yes, I know. It's hard not to take it hard.
It is.
I'm sure most, early years services aren't really fussed on that. But, I think when you're like the educational leader and the leading teacher, you're like, because you know your quality and you know the effort as well. Yeah. That's so good to have those key people though that acknowledge your strengths. Yeah. Without them, who knows people where they would be. My next segment is we're going to chat about passions and interests. So what are your interests or your passions? Clearly children.
Children, yes. I would always say that children are my passion.
What else makes Vanessa tick?
So I am a calisthenics dancer and have done for many, many years. So it's my me time. Yeah. I love it. I love dance. I love music. I love what calisthenics brings to me, the friendships, the feelings. It sounds so crazy because it is my passion and I love it so much. I actually have stage anxiety. And 3 years ago, I decided, it was like while I was doing all the IVF, I decided to do a solo performance as well on top of my team performance. Now, this is the person that nearly vomits before she goes on stage because she's so anxious. And
no safety numbers.
No safety numbers. There was no one else. It was just me.
Oh, my gosh.
Geez, I learnt about myself.
Oh, my gosh.
I learnt so much about everything that I did.
Yes.
I learnt to be on my own. Yeah. I learnt to follow my passion and to take critique and to get up there and do it all on my own. It was amazing. It's the best thing I could have done for my calisthenics.
So good.
It was
Had you
so good.
done calisthenics since you were younger or when did you start it?
Teenage years. Okay. Yeah, I started when I was a teenager. My sister had done it since she was 3. Okay. But I'd kind of been a netball player and tennis and swimming and everything else.
Oh, gosh.
But then, when I was an early teen, so high school, I'm like, I think I could do this.
That's really good because you often kids have done it since they're like
really
5.
little,
and I guess to go into it at that point where you probably were with people that had done it since they were born for some reason. It's something that when people enroll their in kids in these things. So to start at that age too is really brave too. Because in terms of the gradings and where everyone's at, that's awesome. And you're still doing it.
Still doing it
many,
now.
many years later.
And it's just the
With
best.
the same club?
So my club closed down.
Okay.
And then I had 2 years off and then I went back to doing calisthenics. So I've been a master for like 16 years now. So that's the oldest section at our club. And I just bloody love it.
I love that.
I get to go on a Monday night and I get to be Vanessa. No one asks anything of me other than to do what I love. It's so good.
Yes.
It is my...
Does your sister do it as well?
Yeah, she does it for another club.
Okay.
So because of when we couldn't childcare.
Yes.
Came down to childcare. And because we live together, like lots of sisters do it together at the same club.
Okay.
But because we live together, we do try and do things that are independent of each other too, to have an identity as independent. So she has her own club and I have a club and we love it.
Then you get two different groups of people.
And we've both got so much support and friendships at calisthenics, like huge friendships.
Oh.
So it is my passion. But, when I have downtime, which is not often, but I also embroider a lot. So I love to cross-stitch, counted cross-stitch.
Yeah.
So I do that and I run this fine line of I love seeing people, I love being people, but I also love not peopling.
Yes, it's a good concept until it happens.
And then, so I still need my downtime and I love my nights alone,
With your cross-stitch, do you finish projects?
I have a few half-finished projects.
I have more unfinished than I do finished. But,
and I did a lot as gifts. So as I was growing up, teenage 20s, like a lot of gifts and that marriages, like quite a few marriage ones. And then I'm like, what do you do with it when they break up?
Cut it in half?
I don't know. And during COVID was the first time I did one for myself. So I did a beautiful Christmas one. And every year we put it up and I'm like, oh, I love you.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
So
I reckon
much.
Making things for other people versus yourself, it's always on the back burner.
Yeah.
I've got a cross stitch that I've had for so long. It's not finished. And I love Siamese cats. It's 2 Siamese cats and it is beautiful. It's nowhere near finished. It's a lot of different colours, like shadings of the browns and stuff. But I will finish it before I die. I hear you when you work into other people's projects, but with your own ones, like, it's funny, isn't it? I love that. I think it's really good because your life has been, when it's not consumed in a bad way, but consumed by whether it be IVF or foster children or in between foster children and your sister's baby, your baby, but having that outlet and continuing that, and you haven't given it up and you've found it so much value to you. So good. Yeah. So good. Is everyone varying ages in the club? Like it goes by age groupings at that point?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to say mature age, but we
are mature age.
Yeah. Okay.
So they range from, so I'm in a section that's 26 and above. So anyone 26 years older. So we have people that are 28, 29, and then we have people that are 60, 65, and we're all in one team and it's so like good. It's just like this melting pot. Like you just imagine putting 20 women all together with varying abilities, varying thoughts.
That is a good combo.
And like they often say, like you're a master's coach when you're like, and which knee can you get up off the ground with? Because they're the things the coaches have to think about. Yes. It's not like what you can do. It's what can you do with this leg and this leg. And that's so it's hilarious.
So I love having that as an interest. That's awesome. My next one is telling me about your favourite music and bands.
So I love show tunes. I am go show me a stage production.
Yes.
I just love it. I'll see everything that I can possibly see live.
So good. And there's so much choice.
Oh, there's so much choice. We're so lucky in Melbourne.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm a diehard Human Nature fan.
Oh, really? They're doing something. I saw something the other day. I don't know if it's a Vegas residency or they've just finished one or they're about to do something.
Yeah.
Human Nature, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're very good. They give me that little bit of my childhood, like my teenage years.
Oh, so good. So then describe your first concert experience. What did you sing? Did you sing concert first?
John Barnum.
Oh.
Because Human Nature were there.
Yes. Whereabouts was that?
That was at Rod Laver.
Yeah, okay.
And it was just, I was early teens.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I did it was because I love Human Nature. They were the supporting act.
Go for the underdog.
I still loved it. I still loved it. And I can remember that night so
good. What
well.
year was that, do you reckon?
Oh, I was still in high school.
Yeah,
so,
right.
yeah, like 90s, somewhere in the 90s.
Spot
but
on.
yeah.
That's perfect. So my next one is favourite movies, TV shows, actors.
So sucker for a dance movie.
Yes.
But I also love 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched that so many times.
Yes. The go-to.
Yeah, it's the go-to one. And I like the actors they just seem real. Like that whole 10 Things I Hate About You was not the cliche, high school experience.
Yes.
And I think that's what anyone that's had a traumatic high school experience are like, I don't want to see that pep squad cheerleader shit.
The standard American movie.
Exactly. I want to see the place where people are real, that relationships work, relationships don't work, nothing actually works out in the end. I mean, it's a little bit different since Heath Ledger died, but I still watch it. Yeah. I love it when it's on and can recite half of it. But, I just think it's amazing.
My next segment is something that we've talked a lot about, is your family and friendships. So you talked about your friendships and how valuable they are to you. And I guess you've probably accumulated people along the way, but then, like you said, there's not someone that you've known since kinder, but then you've still got some consistent people probably a bit later in life then that have been key. What's your favourite thing to do with them?
I love doing things. So going on walks or going on a picnic or going to a concert.
Yes.
Now it's dinners at the moment because that's all I can kind of fit in.
Yeah.
I love experiencing things with my friends because that's what you talk about. That's the memories you had. Remember when we did this? And most of my friendships that I have now were probably curated in my 30s. Yeah. So after I left high school and did all my, because when you're studying and working full time, there's not a lot of time for friends.
There's not much room.
So it's kind of like once I stepped out of that studying zone that I actually started making real relationships.
Yes.
And I think that even though my anxiety was really bad, I went to a gym and strangely enough, they are my closest friends.
Oh,
this group of people from the gym. And we would just go to classes and we just would chat after the classes. And I just, I remember the first time they invited me out. I'm like, what? Like, I don't even know your surnames. Like, we just meet in a gym class. They're some of the best friends I have between calisthenics and gym. They're like my closest friends. I'm so lucky.
Your village, as you refer to your village.
Yeah.
So good. My next bit is life's turning points. I guess, can you share a significant turning point or moment of realisation in your life? You've had quite a few.
I've had quite a few.
Yeah.
I mean, the latest one was definitely when I felt empowered enough to follow my dream. So I think that for most of my life, I felt a bit of unworthiness, that I wasn't worthy of saying, this is what I want and I want to go for it. Even moving from childcare to sessional kinder, it was really hard for me to say that what I was doing was not enough, that I wanted to do more. So I would often just go along with things like just easy. Then I didn't have to do conflict, but I didn't have to basically have other people's opinions. Like I still really strongly influenced by what other people say and do because and the decision to create her was the first time I put my needs above everybody else's. Yeah. And really followed that dream. And when my niece was born, I thought, actually, I'm not as weak as I think I am. I can actually do that.
Yes.
I will be able to do this. I can do hard things. That's what I had to keep saying to myself. I can do hard things.
Yeah, because you have. And
you
do.
And I've had so many panic attacks in my life that shit, it should be easy.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
Exactly, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, very much so. I think, but reflecting on that, is really important, not so much what it was, but how you got through it. And then I guess each one helps the next one. It doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a piece to remember. My next segment is a little bit lighter. It's called Curious Corner, where I ask random questions about our guests. Can you recall a time where you just couldn't stop laughing about something? And who does it involve?
It involves my cousins.
Okay.
we would just make up little dramas, like little skits, and act out things for our parents. And I couldn't tell you what the words were, but I can remember the feeling of being in their cubby house all dressed up, putting on the most ridiculous show.
So good.
And yeah, like
cousins.
And these were
same age as you?
Same age as me. So I'm lucky I have multiple cousins around the same age as me.
Oh, you're very lucky.
And just, all in fits of laughter. And that's all I can remember is us laughing and being in costumes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's
the best childhood memories.
If you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be?
I think it would be to help my superpower, definitely to help other people feel worthy.
Yeah.
I feel very much like I'm invisible to the world a lot of my life, and still to this day feel sometimes like I walk in a room and it's like, well, no one would really care what you do or don't do. So I would like for no one to ever feel that again, like to really just know that you are seen and that you are valuable and that you're important.
That's perfect. I like that. Oh, my next one, name 5 people you would invite for dinner. So it can be people from the past or celebrities or someone you've never met or people that you'd love to just sit at a table and have a good chat with.
It sounds so. I loved chatting with Kathy Walker.
Oh yeah, I was thinking to say Donald Trump.
No, not Donald Trump. Like really inspirational people. Like I'd love to have met Olivia Newton-John.
Yes.
Like someone that has had challenges and still keeps going with life.
Yeah.
I would love to know my Nana and the stories my mum tells of her. I would love to sit down and actually have a real relationship with her.
Yeah.
They would, and then I would just, you want comfort. You want your best friend there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You need someone to help you through this table of people.
That's right.
My next one is, if you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room, what would you choose? I struggled with this one. I couldn't decide.
It's tricky.
I'm indecisive and I like a lot of music.
I like a lot of music.
Like the song, like I always refer to it as like something that makes you feel so good, like even something to get you on the dance floor, like a power song. Or
do you know Ronan Keating's I Hope You Dance?
Oh, yes.
It's like my anthem. It's like, even though things are hard, I just hope you dance because that's what makes me happy.
Yeah, spot on.
That's my happy place.
So good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Ooh, so signature dish to cook. Do you like cooking?
I love baking. I don't like cooking.
Yeah.
You can take your dinner.
It's a different category,
yes,
right?
It is.
I was playing a meal backwards. I would go dessert first and then I don't know what to do for the main.
And the main's often my go-to is like lasagna because I can make it early and then just serve it up.
Mains are so boring.
Mains are, nah, it just doesn't do anything for me. Create a dessert. I love creating.
So what's your
desserts.
favourite to cook?
My favourite dessert to cook is a layered red velvet cake.
Oh, wow.
And it's just got it down to a fine art now.
Delish.
I just love it. But I'll try any baking. Like, look, my Instagram's just full of cakes and slices and desserts. So
it's more fun than mains.
Exactly. I'm like, don't fill up on the mains. Wait for the dessert to come out, guys.
I agree with you there. I reckon I've done that a few times. I'm eyeing off the desserts going, I want to be able to have one of those.
Yes.
My next one is, as I've injured myself several times over the years, I'm always curious about other people's injuries. Can you tell us about a time where you've accidentally injured yourself?
No, I am actually not. I've not broken a bone in my life. I've not broken a bone. The worst I've done is I semi-tore my hamstring when I was competing at calisthenics. But I
I'm so
never been injured, really.
I just don't know what that's like to just know that you're going to be all right every week, day.
Oh, pretty good on my balance.
That's amazing, especially that you're so active. Like, you're dancing.
I do think about it a lot. I'm like, I hope I don't blow a knee
like
out.
Anything happen out in the garden or,
No, not really.
Fall over in the shops?
No, so I guess the biggest injury story, it's the one that gets told to me, is that I was on the seesaw at the back and rocking back and forth, and I split my head open on the fence. And my mum, tells you, I was 7.
Oh, dear.
And my mum tells me the story all the time, and all I can remember is the heart ice cream at the end.
That's what you want to remember. Yeah, your mum's probably remembering.
I know, Mum was traumatised by the blood pouring out of my head.
Heads bleeds.
Yeah.
Heads bleed incredibly. So this one, I'm being curious to hear what your answer is to this. If you could do things differently, what career would you choose? If you weren't doing what you're doing, what do you reckon you'd be doing? Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, like a professional dancer. Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
If the early childhood goes belly up,
exactly.
you've got to be dancing. So good. Now, the whole past question is historically as if you would have a night away from your partner. So you've got free reign, right?
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
If you were going to choose someone, who do you reckon you'd politician?
Still be Heath Ledger.
Still be
so
Heath
bloody
Ledger.
legend.
God. Holding a candle for him. So good. So legacy and reflections, what do you, oh my gosh, you've got so much to be proud of, Vanessa. Like what are you most proud of in your life? Everything.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I am at a point in my life that I can reflect on just how shit some things have been. I'm just proud that I'm still here. Yeah, that I'm still here.
Isn't it interesting? And it's something, it's definitely something to be proud of, and that you've, I don't know, I think gone from strength to strength and not let anything beat you. You're like, I'm going to keep going.
And I mean, my career has been such a big part of my life because it's such a passion. But I'm pleased that now I'm finally getting some balance.
Yeah.
But I'm also pleased about how well I've done.
Yeah.
Like despite everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
You can definitely be average and mediocre in our industry in early childhood. But I feel like I can honestly say I'm not.
Yeah. I'd agree with you there.
Yeah. That the children are really lucky. Like even though maybe I don't put out the best newsletters. And my planning's always behind.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's ever in front of me.
I feel that the children are really lucky.
The time that you're putting in is in real time.
Yes.
You know, when you're with them, you know, that's the best. Is there anything in your life you regret?
I regret not taking chances.
Yeah.
Like I really regret being so shy and so anxious in my teenage years and in my 20s that I never did anything. So people talk about their teenage experience.
Yes.
And I was like paralyzed with fear. I didn't do anything. I didn't do the parties. Like even if I was at a party, it was like till like 11 o'clock and I was on edge the whole time. I never really enjoyed myself. I just wanted to be home.
Yeah.
So I never, and whether or not that's a part as to why I don't have a partner, I don't know. But I never really took chances in my early teens and late teens. So that's my regret. My regret is that I didn't take chances.
Yeah.
I didn't just be in the moment and have fun and make stupid decisions. Like,
to have the American experience maybe.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, I have come to the end of all my questions. You can relax. And little miss, she's been such a good girl. She's just let us go. So thank you so much for being so open and honest, and there's so much I didn't know. Of course, I wouldn't know everything, but and I cannot wait to upload this bad boy. So you are part of season 3. This is going to be a ripper. So thank you so much.
No worries.
See ya. I hope you were inspired by Vanessa and her strength and determination in achieving her goals. I love the acknowledgement of her village around her in supporting her through times that were particularly challenging. She has not let her anxiety beat her or let her miss out on opportunities. I'm sure Vanessa has inspired you to achieve your goals, no matter what the barriers are. So, as we always give a shout out to our guests' hall pass, let's give a shout out to Mr. Heath Ledger. But I'd also like to give a shout out and a special mention to Human Nature, just for Vanessa. Tune in to our next episode where we get to hear more lives worth telling. Don't forget to check out and follow us on your socials. And if you love what you hear, please rate and review us on your favourite podcast app. Of course, if you have any questions, you can get in touch with us through the Facebook page or Instagram. If you or a friend or a family member would like to come on the show, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. And if you want to grab yourself some merch, jump onto Redbubble to check out our products. Thanks for listening to Lives Worth Telling. See you next time.